So today we're gonna go over adjacent angles. It's a very similar process to how you solve supplementary and complementary angle problems. And then I'm going to introduce vertical angles, and vertical angles kind of drum to their own beat. And we'll start talking about vertical angles. We won't get super into it today. We won't have enough time. But then on Monday we'll wrap up vertical angles. We'll do some problems that involve some algebra with it, and then we're going to get to really awesome fun problems next week that look like this. Doesn't look like you have enough information, but you totally do. You can find the measure of every one of those angles. And after the beginning of class on Monday, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to do that. There's all kinds of fun ones. Like I have this one too. They're like big puzzles. So we will have some fun with these. We just have to get through these last couple different types of angles today, and we'll finish that up on Monday. And then we'll get to do some of these more exciting problems. Now, vertical angles is not on your assignment sheet until Monday, so we're kind of getting a little bit ahead, which could work in our favor. So we'll see how things go. Okay. The last time we were together, we talked about adjacent angles, and if you look at the definition here of adjacent angles, they look like this. They're two angles that share a common vertex and a common side. So they're basically connected to each other. They're like neighbors. They share a fence, okay? So let's actually do some problems with these. We're not going to write a definition or anything down because we've already done that on our vocabulary sheet. I'm going to do a super straightforward one, and then we'll get into some that have some algebra. Okay, so with supplementary angles, you already know that the whole measure is 180, and the same thing with complementary angles. You know that the whole angle is going to be 90. But in problems like this, you don't know what the large angle is going to be changing, basically. So in this case, we're going to say that the measure of angle WXZ is equal to 122 degrees, okay? And our goal here is to find the measure of WXY. The measure of angle WXY, okay? So we know that this whole thing, WXZ, this whole thing is 120. We know that this part is 35. So really what we're going to be doing is subtracting to find out our missing angle. But I'm going to write it more formally on our sheet real quick so that we have that. So I'm going to say the measure of angle WXY plus the measure, this measure right here, which is 35 degrees, is equal to the measure of the whole angle, which is 122 degrees, okay? So you don't need to write it out formally. I just want you to see it in your notes and have it in your notes, but really all we're doing is subtracting here. So if I subtract 35 from both sides, I get that the measure of angle WXY is equal to, I believe that's 87 degrees. Okay, so that means that this angle right here is 87 degrees. always good just to double check, like do a quick addition in your head here. And I do get 122, so I know that I'm good to go for this, okay? Y'all are good on that? Okay, let's do some algebra with it. So we're going to have this angle be x degrees, and this angle right here will be x plus 22 degrees. And we're going to be given that the measure of angle WXZ is equal to 112 degrees. Oh, sorry. In the last class, I named it something different. My mistake. I know. Well, I accidentally had 2 problems in a row with the exact same variable, so I was like, okay, this class I'm going to switch it up. But I didn't switch it all the way, apparently. Okay. So ABC, the whole angle ABC is 112 degrees. Okay. And our goal here is we're going to find X, and we're also going to find the measure of the missing angles. Okay? So in this case, we have one angle that is X, another angle that is X plus 22, and all together, this whole thing is going to be 112 degrees. Okay. And then we're going to combine like terms here. And then we're going to solve for X. So if I subtract 22 from both sides, I get 90. If I divide both sides by 2, I get 45 degrees. Okay, so we've done the first thing here. We found out what X was. Now we're going to take our knowledge and use it to find the measures of all these angles. So this first one is 45 degrees. The second one, 45 plus 22, is 67 degrees. And it's always good form to add those real quick in your head and make sure it adds up to 112. Pretty straightforward, right? Yeah, Ion. What's that? Yep. Do your thing. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 quick practice problems just to get your make sure you're good on this, and then we're going to talk about vertical angles. Thanks. Is it just me, or do your other teachers forget to pull their paper up too? It's just me. Well, I'm also the only math teacher. You probably don't take notes like this in other classes, right?
No, it's mainly just like, my teachers just have like a slideshow of things to take notes of.
Yeah. It's just me. It's just my issue, apparently. Okay, for these practice problems, I want you to find x, and I also want you to find the value of the missing, or the measure of the missing angles. Okay, so try those out real quick. Let's go ahead and go over these two problems. For this one, this first angle is 2x, the second angle is x, and the whole thing, CDF, is 72 degrees. So we can combine like terms, divide both sides by 3, and I believe you get 24 degrees. Okay. So we found x, and then we're going to find our missing angles too. So this will be 24 degrees, and twice 24 is 48 degrees. And then the next one, if you ever see this right angle, this little box here, this means that this is 90 degrees, so we're good on that. And then, so that means we have 90 degrees, not 30, 90. I don't know why I said 90 and wrote 30. This will be 90 degrees plus x this angle plus x this angle is equal to 150. So 90 plus 2x is equal to 150. 2x is equal to 60, and x is equal to 30 degrees. So that means this angle is 30 degrees, and this angle is 30 degrees. There we have it. Feeling good about that? Yep. Okay, why don't you guys actually maybe take like 5 minutes to just do those quick questions in Otis for adjacent angles. There's only three questions, so it should only take you a couple minutes. And then if we have time, we'll continue on with vertical angles. If not, we'll just pick up where we left off on Monday.